These are all different books. Okay, you can see this. Now you will see that the annual rainfall, year and annual rainfall. See, this is a time series graph, but this is a rough means it is plotted as per the observations collected. Means year-wise observations are collected. Maybe here you can see that between 1950 to 1960, 10 years observations are collected, and you can see this graph. This is a typical time series graph. Okay, according to years and annual rainfall is given to you. This is a typical time series graph, this one, and second is also there. This is a flow graph, means flow and year. Now 1880 to 1960, with respect to years, this is given from Durbin and Kopman. This is flow volume of Nile River, and this particularly, this is again a time series graph. So this is one example where we can use time series analysis. Okay, now go back to our slides. So here, what is importance of time series analysis? As I explain it to you, the basis of time series analysis, businessmen can predict about the changes in economy. There are following points which clears about the importance. Now, as I told you, we can profit experience, safety from future, utility studies, self forecasting, stock market analysis. In stock market, time series analysis is used widely. Process and quality control, inventory studies, economic forecasting, risk analysis, census analysis, budgetary analysis, yield projections, or even you can say your financial portfolios, how do you manage it, your own financial budget, everything. And not necessarily this, now even for the current scenario like COVID, we can do a time series analysis in terms of COVID as well. If you collect the monthly data of COVID patients in India from different cities, you will be able to analyze with the help of time series analysis. You will be able to predict the future COVID cases, or you will be able to predict vaccination required for the COVID patients. So here, in case of maybe medical science or financial management or industry or maybe banking sectors, everywhere this time series analysis is required. In environment, it is very essential because all the environmental decisions are based on the previous record. Now, what are the components of time series analysis? There are basically four terms: secular trend, seasonal variation, cyclic variation, and irregular variation. Now the changes are being in time, they are affected by economic, social, natural, industrial, and political reasons. Now this secular trend, seasonal variation, and cyclic variation, irregular variation, by the name itself, some of you might have understood what does it mean. Now secular trend means, let us go ahead. The increase or decrease in the moment of time series is called a secular trend. I gave you the example of milk requirement. You might have seen it, the demand increases on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Otherwise, it reduces. So there is increase and decrease. So we can say that this is a secular trend. The time series data may show upward time trend or downward trend, or maybe upward or a downward, but it is a secular trend. Say for example, even Sensex you can take it is as a secular trend, because it is not seasonal, it is not another one like inventory type, but it is a secular trend. Increase in population, change in technological progresses, large scale shift in consumer demand, these are all secular trends. These are the factors. Now for example, population increases over a period of time, price increases over a period of time, capital market changes over a period of time, or you can say the nowadays COVID cases increases or decreases over a period of time. These are the means when you say the increase, increase in price, increase in commodities, increase in production of goods, increase in capital market, then we call it as a upward trend. Whereas if there is a decrease, then we call it as a downward trend. Suppose that if the demand decreases, then the price also, sometimes the price decreases. So that is a decreasing scenario, and that is called a downward trend. Now sometimes the trend, we cannot decide whether it is upward or downward. So we can say it is a mixed trend, but most of the time it is upward or downward. Now what is a seasonal variation? Now say for example, a demand of woolen clothes, or the demand of heater in our houses, heater or air condition. It depends upon seasons. Now whenever there is a hot summer, we definitely demand for air condition in our house. So in a sale price of air condition or in a demand of air condition, it increases or decreases depending upon the season. So there is a seasonal variation in the demand of air condition, or maybe in the demand of heaters, or maybe in the demand of say ice cream, or maybe in the demand of winter care lotions, or several other things which are related to the season. Say the demand of umbrellas or raincoats, or all the other things that is required in particular season, rainy, winter and summer. So these are the seasonal changes. Sometimes in the commodities also we can observe the seasonal changes, like in the month of November, when Diwali is there. Most generally when Diwali is there, there is a sudden demand of clothes, jewelries. In marriage season, the sudden demand of jewelry can be noticed. So sale price selling, this is a seasonal change. Okay, so then the next change is a cyclic variation. Now what is cyclic variation? We can see upward or a downward in one particular phase. Now for example, if you consider say it is also, you can call it as a oscillatory movement. Increase, decrease, increase, decrease, that is oscillatory movement. So you can see in a picture that in this picture there is a peak, then recession, then again recovery, then peak, again recession, again recovery. I don't think I'll be able to write on it. Okay, I think I can take a pointer from here. Yeah, pointer option is there. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Your meeting window is coming to slide. Can you just move this?
Which slide?
On your slide, we are able to see that your meeting window. So basically, meeting window is like you can just shift to the just below. Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
You can just
I have minimized it. Okay, okay. Further I need to minimize it.
yes, ma'am. It's coming to the slide.
Okay. Can you see slides now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's not coming.
No, ma'am. Madam, please share your screen.
But my screen is already shared, I think. Oh, it is gone.
Yeah, your video is
Yeah, I can see you now, not
Okay,
the
okay, okay, I
PPTs.
understood. I understood. Somehow the sharing is stopped. Can you see it now?
Yeah, but still that window is there. Meeting window. Can you just minimize or
Yeah,
move?
window I will.
Yes.
Is it
Yeah, yeah,
fine?
good. Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
Take the pointer. Okay, I'm choosing a pen. but it's very difficult for me to see that particular icon. So I will choose a highlighter or a pointer. This is also invisible. Okay, can you see this pointer now?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it visible
Yes,
now?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now what is cyclic variation? When one cycle is complete, like recession and recovery. From peak, sometimes it goes into recession and then again recovery. Again recession and again recovery. If you find this change in some of the commodities, then we call it as a cyclic variation. Can you give me some example where this may happen? Can you think of some example where this is possible?
It's a property, madam. Property business.
Yes.
Climate will change cyclically.
Climate is cyclic. Property business, although we say property business is cyclic, but generally it is in a means upward trend in property business. Rarely it is a downwards trend. Am I right? But since
Share value, madam.
share
Shares
value,
value.
again there is a recession and recovery, it is 100% it is there, but it is also cyclic, but sometimes it
Vibration.
goes down and then again recovery, again recession, again recovery. This happens in share business. Okay, so this
Vibration signature.
vibrations,
Vibration signature of any machine. It will cyclical change.
yes,
Sometimes.
yes, vibration signatures is cyclic, right? Even your waves are cyclic, am I right? Shock waves,
Yes, ma'am.
isn't it? Okay, then what are the irregular variations? Irregular variations means the variation due to natural calamities like a flood, earthquake, wars, or just like now we have observed the irregular variation in everything. In our entire lifestyle, there is an impact of COVID-19. And because of that, there are variations in businesses, variations in job profiles, variations in education, variations in the maybe the security forces. There are several variations you can observe because of these natural calamities. Right now we are facing that particularly the virus COVID-19, but sometimes you can observe with the help because of flood or earthquake, wars, and some other natural calamities, the entire lifestyle changes, and because of that we can see the variations, and that time particularly this is called a time series analysis. We can consider that as well. These variations are also referred as residual variations, since by definition they represent what is left out in a time series after trend. Cyclic seasonal variation, irregular fluctuation results due to occurrence of unforeseen events. I have explained it to you. These are irregular variations. Then what are the time series models? There are two types of time series models. One is addition model and second is a multiplication model. Now this addition model, it is a t plus s, y is equal to t plus s plus c plus I. Now what is y? This y means original data, t means a trend value, s means seasonal fluctuation, c means cyclic fluctuations, and I means irregular fluctuations. Because of irregularity, there are some fluctuations. So this is in particular, this is called the addition model of time series. Then there is a multiplication model, same parameters TSCI are multiplied and Y is the original data. So all these changes are considered together either in the form of addition or in the form of multiplication, and then we can decide the time series model, that is the original data Y can be traced out. Because we need to, this time series model is particularly used for the prediction of future values, and therefore original data is equal to t plus s plus c plus I. If we develop this model with the help of these particular parameters, seasonal trend, cyclic trend, or maybe the irregular trend, you will be able to calculate the trend value and you will be able to calculate the data for the particular trend value. Then measurement and scale, measurements of secular trend. initially we will try to cover what is secular trend, then we will go to seasonal trend, then we will go to cyclic trend, and at the end we'll think about the irregular trend. Now there are several methods to measure the secular trend. The most common method is a freehand curve method, semi-average method, moving average method, and least square method. These are four methods to see the secular trend or measure the secular trend or form a model for secular trend. Now, what is a freehand curve method? We'll go one by one. The freehand curve method is nothing but just plot years on x-axis and say profit. This example is of a profit on y-axis, or whatever graphs I have shown you before this. Those graphs are freehand plotted with the help of freehand curve method. Just consider a data and plot it on a graph paper. That will give you a freehand curve method, and then with the help of that trend value, you will be able to determine the particular, you can forecast the value in that particular year. So how to, this is one example, and this is a curve. Okay, how do we plot it? How to plot this curve directly? Suppose you are using your Excel sheet, you know how to plot this trend line. Not necessarily trend line, you can plot a trend curve, you can plot maybe a polynomial curve, or maybe logarithmic curve, or maybe sinusoidal curve, whatever curve you want, you can plot it with the help of Excel, or you can plot it with the help of R software. Have you learned R software, by the way?
No,
Not
ma'am.
yet, madam.
Not yet, not yet.
Okay, I will just give you the glimpse of R software after this lecture. Okay, so how to plot this trend line? I can show you with the help of Excel. I hope most of you must be knowing how to plot the line with the help of Excel sheet. So let us consider this particular table. I will just copy this table, and let us, or we can take a dummy table as well. I hope you can see my entire screen. So I will consider this Excel sheet. And roughly speaking, we can write some years here, say 1989, 1980, 1990, then 1991, 1992, 1993, 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999. Okay, these 10 values I have chosen. Then we can select some 10 values here, something, maybe sale or profit or whatever you call it. Suppose it is 23.4. Then suppose it is 34.8, 12.5. Okay, 20. Oh, something is wrong. 34.8, 12.5. Want, you can have increasing trend, or somewhere you can have a decreasing trend as well, or 22.6, 36.5, or 7. 67.8, 89.0, 91.4, I'm taking random values, 91.4, 102, 110.6, 121.5. Some random values I'm taking, 132.2, 155. Okay, these are some random values, and we need to plot a trend line. So we need to consider this directly, select it, go to insert, and you can choose maybe this graph, and particularly this type of graph curve, or this is a particular graph of that. Now I don't know what type of curve do I get. What is a trend line then? This is actually a time series, freehand time series. But what is a trend line here? So I need to take a cursor on it, right click, you will get add trend line. So when you select this option, you can see on a right hand side format of trend line. In this format of trend line, you can choose exponential, linear, logarithmic, polynomial, power or moving average. Whichever you want, you can select it from here. Suppose I have chosen linear. So now I want the equation also. Now if I choose display the equation, see this is the display equation on chart. If I choose display the equation, it will give me the equation of regression. Okay. This will give me the regression equation. If I say yes, okay, then you can see here already the trend line is displayed. I can change the color of trend line or name of trend line, whatever you want, you can do it with the help of this. This is a trend line. You can see the dotted line. Is it visible to you? Is this dotted line visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is a trend line and you can see the equation on the top. Y is equal to 13.42x minus 266.9 or something. Can you see this? This
Yes,
equation
ma'am.
on the top?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, little bit size is increased. I hope now it is visible to all of you. So this way you can plot a trend line by using Excel worksheet, right? You will get the equation also. So we'll go back again to our original record. So this way, this particular line is plotted and actual data, and this is a trend line. Correct? We'll go to the next, what is called a semi-average method. This semi-average method means we need to divide the entire data into two groups, into equal groups. Whatever data we have selected here, we have selected a data of 10 years. So this 10 years data can be divided into 5 years data and 5 years data in equal groups. Then we calculate the average of first 5 years and the average of next 5 years data. Okay, and then we join those points on a graph, and that is called a semi-average method. So here, this is a data. These are 8 trend values, total 8 trend values, 89 to 96. The production in metric ton is given to us. Now this first part, these eight trend values are divided into two groups. From here, you can see this. First 4 and next 4. Correct? First 4, 89 to 92 and 93 to 96, they are divided. And then the average of this 150 to 151 is considered. Just excuse me. Hello? हाँ बोल. हाँ. सिव्हिल आणि चौथं सेमिस्टर 16-20 बॅकलॉग. आत्ता तरी काही आठवत नाही. मी दिलेत ऑलरेडी. नाहीये. जरा एक काम करते का, वीणा मॅडमला फोन करून विचारते. हा हा, मी लेक्चर घेते पीएडीचं. हा, तर वीणाला फोन करून विचार, तिला माहिती आहे सगळं. Okay, so can you see this? 150 to 151, the average is taken. Here 154, 153, 155, this average is taken. Now what next? Then on this particular graph, we need to plot these 2 points. Actually, this is again what a thick line you can see. This is a freehand method. But for this semi-average method, we need to plot those 2 points, 151.50 and 155.25 based on these values, and then join these 2 points. Can you see this? This point is 151.50 somewhere here. This is that point somewhere here, 151.5, and this is 155.25, maybe somewhere here. And these 2 points, the line is connected. Is that right?
But madam, which year we need to consider these values? 151.5 and 155?
This we have calculated the averages in the previous slide.
Yeah. But respective to which year?
1 minute. Yes, yeah, I'm telling you that also. Just listen to me. Now here, this averages, we have 4 values, 189, 190, 191 and 192. So you can select the middle value, means not to leave 2 here and go to this middle one. Okay, means where do you plot the curve? I will show it to you in a previous slide. Here, in between these two, correct? 190 and 191, in between these two, you can plot this point. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, here 194 and 195, in between these two, you can plot this point. I'm not able to draw it right now, otherwise I would have shown you how to draw. 1 minute. If I can draw, I will draw it also. 190 and 190 like this. Here 190 and 190. My straight line is not perfect. Bear with it. Okay. This is that point. Is that clear? Similarly, on this side also, this is 194 and 195, the central line. Here it is. Oh, sorry. Here. Do you get it? Do you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then connect those points, that will be a trend line. Then what is moving average method? Moving average method is, now we need to consider 3 years moving average or 5 years moving average, or maybe 2 years moving, 4 years moving average. Now I will explain it to you with the help of this example from the next slide. Now here, the years are given, prices of sugar are given. Now this is 5 years moving average method. Now what does it mean by 5 years or 3 years? What is the meaning of 5 years or 3 years?
For calculating average, considering successive years, eliminating one year from that.
Yeah. Am I able to write? Why it is not working today? No, my Wacom is not working today.
Ma'am, go to pen setting.
Yeah.
Pen setting is there. Pen setting.
No. Let it be. Okay, I will explain you with the help of that pointer itself. Now when it is 5 years moving average, how do we consider? Okay, 5 years means we consider these first 5 years. These 5 years, right? And in case of 3 years, we consider first 3 years. So when we consider these first 5 years, we calculate the total 20 plus 25 plus 33 plus 30 and plus 27. And we write it at the center. Look at this, it is written at the center. Can you see this? Can you see it is written at the center 135?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And then we drop first 1 year, and then we consider another 5 years, means from 25 to 35. And then again write the sum at the center. Then we consider okay, then we consider successive numbers further, one by one, by dropping one from the top. Initially we drop 2 because otherwise we cannot have 5 years moving average. Then we drop 2 values and we consider next, then we drop 1, 1, 1, and then we come to 5 years total. And then we calculate the average of that by choosing 135 divided by 5, that is 27, then 150 divided by 5, that is 30, and so on. But again, suppose at the end, you come to end and then you get 37, 48, 50 and 50, 37, 45. When you come to this last 5 values, you need to consider this sum is 217. We have written it next to 50. But once you reach to last, and if you want to drop the previous value, you cannot drop it because then only 4 values will be left with you. And as we consider 5 years moving average, we cannot calculate the 4 years moving in 4 years average year. And because of that, we need to leave 2 from the top and 2 from the bottom. And then we calculate their averages. And then we can, this is called a 5 years moving average method. I can show it to you with Excel sheet because that is easier for me. That Excel sheet is already there with us. We can cancel this graph. This is there with us only with 10 values. Absolutely no problem. But if we have to calculate it, we can do that with the help of all the parameters. I can increase the font size so that all of you can see it easily. Okay, now in the increase font size, suppose I take 3 years moving average, 3 years. And then we can think about 5 years moving average. How to calculate it? So I will calculate 3 years total and then we'll go to 5 years total. So when I calculate 3 years total, I need to consider first this value, first, second and third value. So where do I write this sum? I need to write the sum here. So this is equal to this first cell plus next cell plus this cell plus the next cell, right? And this is a total, correct? Now for 5 years, I need to leave two up and then I can write it in a third one. So what is this sum? This sum is this cell plus the second cell plus the third cell plus the fourth cell and plus the fifth cell. Okay, this is that sum. I'm calculating sum first and just I need to pull it up to this. I get this sum of 3 values. means a total of 3 years moving average. Similarly here, if I just pull it, I need to pull it only up to this. I get the total of 5 years, maybe the production. Now then what is average? 3 years moving average and 5 years moving average. Just to understand it, I'm increasing the size of column. So how do I calculate it here? This is equal to this sum divided by 3. So this will give you 3 years moving average, and this here it will give you 5 years moving average. This sum divided by 5. Okay, so I'm getting 3 years moving average and 5 years moving average for first 3 cells and first 5 cells here. So how do I continue it further? You know the Excel is very versatile tool. So you can just click on it and just pull the leg of it. You'll be able to calculate 3 years moving average of all the values. Right, last one you are getting 0 because there is nothing. Correct, this is not considered. This is also not to be considered. So this way, this is called a 3 years moving average and this is called a 5 years moving average. Now in case of 3 years or 5 years, it is very easy to write it at the center. Correct, but suppose it is a 4 years moving average, then how do we calculate it? This is 3 years moving average method and 5 years moving average method. Now let us go towards say 4 years moving average method. I hope it is clear to you. Do you understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now how to go ahead with 4 years moving average? 3 and 5, I hope you understand. Even if it is 7, if data is big enough, maybe 100 or 200 observations are there, then you can take 7 years moving average, 9 years moving average easily. Now how to go ahead with say even number of years, say 4 years moving average. Correct. So can I delete all these? All these cells, 5 years, 3 years. So I can consider the same data set and we will calculate 5 years moving average, 4 years moving average now. Now what I will do, I will insert one column in everywhere. Because I want to calculate 4 years moving average. So to write it, I'm inserting a column. Okay, even if I tell you 1 or 2, you will understand. It's not very difficult, but only it is a writing skill how to write. So suppose these are 4 years, 89, 90, 91 and 92. Correct? These are 4 years. So you will consider the sum of all these 4 parameters. So the sum we will write it exactly at the center. This is a sum, means 23.4 plus 34.8 plus 22.6 plus 36.7 is equal to, this is a sum, and then the average will be this sum divided by 4. So this is a 4 years moving average for first 4 values. Then for the remaining another one, it will go here. Correct? It will be here. This is equal to, now we will drop the first one, this value plus this value plus this value plus this value. equal to, and then here again this is equal to this sum divided by 4. Do you get it? Do you get it?
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
if I insert a
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
row
Yes,
everywhere,
ma'am.
I think it is easy to understand. If I insert a row everywhere, I'll be able to do it quickly. Correct? So this is in every alternate cell you will get this 4 years moving average. What is this? This is 4 years moving average. Followed? 3 years, 5 years and 4 years. Is that clear? Okay, let's go ahead. Now what is the least square method? In least square method, what we do? You know what is least square? What is the basic concept of least square? Have you ever studied? Why this method is called a least square method? Do you know? You might have studied it in regression analysis. I will try explaining you why this is called a least square method. I think I may be able to write on a blank PPT. Okay, here. Why any method is called a least square method? I don't know what is wrong with this one. Okay. Why it is called a least square method? Say in general, you know y is equal to a plus bx. This is a line. Y is equal to a plus bx. Correct? Then when we consider it, y is equal to a plus bx, it is a trend line. Y is a dependent variable and x is an independent variable. Now, how do we determine the values of a and b? By using a method of least square. Least square means we consider the square of the difference, means there are actual values. Say yi's are actual values. If I say yi, these are actual values, and then these are the values calculated with the help of this particular trend. So I will consider this yi minus this y, and it's a square. From each value, I will consider this yi and yi minus yi bracket square, because I know xi's are given to me and yi's are also given to me. So how do I calculate this yi? If I put the value of xi here, I will be able to get y is equal to yi. See what is that? Y is equal to a plus bx. I have been given xi's and yi's. These are given to me, and I will calculate yi minus y bracket square. Means what is this y? This is a given value and another one is a calculated value. And when I take the summation of this, correct, I will call it as S. This is a sum known as S. Now this sum, we need to minimize this sum. Minimize this sum with the help of differentiation. Now you know yi is a known value and another value will be yi is known. How do I calculate the value of y? It is a plus bxi. Am I right? Now this is, if you observe it, this is a function of a and b because xi and yi's are given to us. When xi's and yi's are given to us, this is a function of simply a and b. When you call it as a function of a and b, and this is bracket square, correct? And this is a summation. So this summation is to be minimized. So this summation is a function of a and b. All right. How do we proceed further? Then we differentiate s with respect to a, we differentiate s with respect to b, and we equate both these derivatives to 0, and then we get values of a and b. Once we equate these derivatives to 0, we get values of a and b. And once we get those values of a and b, our trend line can be generated by substituting those values of a and b. But why it is least then? What is the next criteria? The next criteria is we calculate the second derivative, dou square s by dou a square and dou square s by dou b square. And when we calculate the second derivative, that second derivative is positive for all the values of xi and yi. That indicates that this particular summation is minimum. For in derivative, for minima, the second order derivative has to be positive. So the same condition is applicable here. If this second order derivative is positive, then we can call it as a minima. So with the help of that, we calculate maxima and minima. And because of this particular theory, this method is called a least square method. If you want, I will show it to you how it is calculated. Okay, now look at it. Suppose I have y, I will consider s is equal to summation yi minus a minus bxi, or I can take a plus bxi and then y, because it is a square, it will not make any changes. Yi minus bxi bracket square. Now when we consider this yi minus bxi bracket square, then we calculate dou s by dou a. Why dou s by dou a? Because xi and yi's are known to us. So this is 2 times this summation again, this summation as it is, into, it is with respect to a, so it is just minus 1. Correct? This is minus 1. And now this is to be equated to 0. If I equate it to 0, this minus 1 and 2 will not be 0. So what is 0? Summation yi minus a minus bxi is equal to 0. This summation is equal to 0. All right. When this summation is 0, we call it as summation yi minus summation a minus b summation xi is equal to 0. So from here we get one equation, that summation yi is equal to n into a. Why n into a? Because you are adding a n times, so it is n into a plus b summation xi. Now in this first equation, we know summation xi, we know summation yi, so we can easily consider this summation, this equation, the previous equation, as summation yi is equal to na plus b summation xi. Means summation yi is equal to na plus b summation xi. This is your first equation. Now how to get second? For second equation, we need to differentiate the same term with respect to b. If I differentiate it, I'll get 2 times this summation again, this bracket, into the coefficient of b. What is the coefficient of b? It is minus xi. So the coefficient of b is minus xi. and this is equal to again 0. If you consider it to be equal to 0, then what do you get? If I equate it to 0, 2 cannot be 0, minus sign cannot be 0. So what I will get? I will get summation yi minus a minus bxi into xi is equal to 0. This is what is 0. Now if I multiply and separate it, I get summation yi into xi minus a summation xi minus b summation xi square equal to 0. And this will give me second equation, that summation xi yi is equal to a summation xi plus b summation xi square. So this is the second equation. First and second equation, these are simultaneous equations. So if you solve these two equations, you will get a and b. Now once you get this a and b, then how many columns are required to be prepared? When you consider this particular equation, when you are solving it, how many columns are required for this least square method? So the columns required are xi is given, yi is given, you need to calculate xi square, you need to calculate xi into yi. These 4 columns are required, and then once you calculate, prepare these 4 columns, calculate their sum here below it, summation, 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 and then substitute this sum in the these equations. Summation yi is equal to a plus na plus b summation xi, and the second equation is summation xi yi is equal to a summation xi plus b summation xi square. So we need only 4 columns. So substitute it here and get the values of a and b. Once you get these values, your trend line can be determined, y is equal to a plus bx. So this way, this is called a method of least square. And this is also there in line of regression. You can make use of this method to calculate the line of regression. Is that clear? Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, if you see whatever I have explained, it is, I think, given in this. From this equation, we have calculated a and b. Here, y is a trend value, and x is a unit of time. It is independent variable. These constants are to be calculated. So we you know now how to calculate those constants. Here the constants are calculated separately. You know, see here. Now, while calculating using this particularly least square method, we cannot consider the years as it is. Observe this table. We cannot consider years as it is 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. What we need to do, we need to consider the value as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can call this 1991 as a benchmark year, then 1992. The benchmark year is 1991. So you can call it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These are the values of x variable, and these are the values of y variable as it is. Now here we have considered deviation from 1990. Instead of taking years as it is, we have considered 1990 as 0th year, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this way we can prepare a table x, y, xy, and x square. Is that clear? Once the table is prepared, on the next slide, how to calculate values of a and b are given. Now here, as I explain it to you, summation y instead of yi, I just have called it as summation y, because I don't want to say summation yi every time. So this is just summation y is equal to na, means number of observation into a, plus b summation x. Summation xy is equal to a summation x plus same equations. Those I explain it to you. Then we calculate values of a and b. These two simultaneous equations are formed with the help of these summations from the previous table, and n is 5 because only 5 value are chosen. So this is with the help of these simultaneous equations. the value of A and B are calculated. Here B is 1.6 and A is 5.2. These two values are calculated, and then the trend line means this is YC, it is called a trend line, A plus BX, that is 5.2 plus 1.6x. And with the help of 5.2 plus 1.6x, you can go back to this previous table. You can observe that this is coming out. This is a trend value. Of course, you will not see the exact match between 8 and 6.8 because these are given values and these are calculated values, right? They are not necessarily equal because you can see it in this figure also. In a secular trend, when we draw a freehand figure, the values are not same because it is a straight line. In previous example where we have drawn these figures, in this example you can say, when we have drawn this figure, you will see that the points do not lie on this trend line. All the points do not lie. Some of the points may lie on this trend line, but all points may not lie on this trend line. And because of that, whatever my readings are there, suppose at 1991 it is matching, but at 1992 it is not matching. See, there is a deviation between the value of 1992 trend value and actual value. So this deviation is there because we consider a straight line trend. If you consider a polynomial trend, somewhere you will see that the values are matching. So in this figure, don't assume that your values will be exactly same. Here 6.8, this is 8.4, but here this is 8, but still it is 10. Means these are observed values and these are expected values. These are expected. Now up to 5, we can calculate it as 13.2. Now what is the expected trend value? Maybe in the year of 1998. How do I calculate it? If I have to say 1998, my 1995 is 5. So 1998 will be 8, means the value of x will be 8. I need to substitute the value of x here as 8. Here I have chosen an example of 1996, but instead of 6, you can put here 8. So you will get the value, trend value in the year 1998. Here it is calculated for 1996. If you replace 6 by 8, you will get trend value for the year 1996, 8. You may calculate it as 2000 or 2012 depending upon the number of years. This is called a least square method and that is only for a trend line. But how do I shift this trend line? We can shift this trend line if I want to shift, because here the benchmark year considered is 1990 and 1991 is first year. Am I right? If you go back, benchmark year is 1990 is a benchmark year. It is considered as 0. Then 1991 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I right? But if instead of 90 as a 0th year, if I have to select 93 as 1 and 92 as 0, means I am shifting the origin. My origin is shifted. Then how do I shift it? So if I have to shift the trend line, trend origin, here 1991 is a first year. If you see, base year is 1991 first, correct? Then I need to go back, means 2 years in advance, means whatever values here I'm getting, these values 5.2 and 1.6, I need to consider it for 2 years back, because 1993 and 1991 there is a gap of 2 years. So 2 years back means how do I do it? We need to reduce this value twice the value of B from A. This is the value of A. We need to subtract twice the value of B from this. Why is it so? Because in a straight line, if you think about a straight line from coordinate geometry, just try to remember that when you consider a straight line from coordinate geometry, this is called a slope. Even if you change your coordinate system, the slope will not change, but your y-intercept will change. And this 5.2 is nothing but a y-intercept. Do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
This 5.2 is a y-intercept. But if I am changing the year, means I am shifting the origin along y direction. So this 5.2 will not remain same. So 5.2 minus 2 times the slope. Why 2 times the slope? Is there any reason? Is there any reason? Why 2 times the slope? Huh? Are you getting it? See, you know, generally, this is our coordinate system. This is our origin, right? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Suppose this is my origin. Now this is my trend line. Because my slope is intercept is positive, so I can say this is a trend line. Is it? Now, if I'm shifting this origin from here to here, what will happen? This intercept will reduce. Is it correct? Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Intercept will reduce. How much will it reduce? Can we calculate it? So it will reduce by, suppose this is the original intercept. This intercept means this is up to here only. This is intercept is say A. This will reduce by A minus 2 times, because if this distance is 2, it will reduce by 2 times the slope. It is based on the trigonometry. Correct? Based on trigonometry, if you complete this triangle and then measure it, you will see that this intercept will reduce by this amount, A minus 2 times B, because B is a slope. B is nothing but this angle tan theta. Correct? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You know,
Yes, ma'am.
similarity of triangles. Based on that similarity of triangles, this particular value will reduce. And it is given to you in this particular shifting of the trend line. And because of that, you will see that the y-intercept has become 2. The slope remains same, 1.6. Because even if you shift the origin, the slope will not change. Is that clear? Okay. Now, what about the parabolic curve? In a trend line, it is not necessary that you will always get a straight line. You may get a parabolic curve as well. And how do we get it? With the help of least square method. Now in this parabolic curve, you will see that there are 3 constants, A, B and C. You know, this is a standard general equation of parabola. You might have learned it in coordinate geometry. This is a general equation of parabola. We can't say that it passes through origin, or origin is a focus, or origin is a vertex. No, it may not pass through origin. It may not have a vertex as origin. Its focus may not be origin. It is a general parabola. So in this equation, increase up to second degree, then it is a parabola of second degree. Okay, we can fit third degree, fourth degree curve depending upon our requirement. Now, how do we fit it? How to get it? So I think it is explained here. Parabola second degree means it is of a second degree curve. Now we know that method is same. So we consider y is equal to summation na plus b summation x plus c summation x square. Whatever equation is given to us in the previous slide, this equation, we consider this sum of left hand side and right hand side. This yc means observed values. This table is given to us xi and yi. So we substitute those values, calculate this sum. Y is equal to na plus b summation x plus c summation x square. Then multiply that equation by x and again calculate the sum. Multiply that equation again by x and calculate the sum. So we get 3 equations in 3 unknowns. See, there are 3 unknowns, so we need to have 3 equations. Otherwise, we will not be able to calculate the values of A, B, C. For 3 constants, we need to have 3 equations. Okay, is that clear? Now, if we consider the deviation from mean here, if you shift the mean here to 0, then it will be easier. Means this you will get. Means 0 means x is 0, this sum will be 0 and on. But that you don't worry about it. We can concentrate here. This is also deviation from middle year is shown. But I will show you directly with the help of Excel sheet how to do that. This is our Excel sheet. Okay, this is our original data, if you know. This is our original data. Now I want to have a parabolic curve, parabolic trend line. I can directly get it. If I select it here, just like previously I showed you, I can directly get it with the help of Excel. If I select and again insert the curve, now instead of straight line, I will insert this curve. This is a curve. All right, now I want to have a trend line which is parabolic in nature. So add trend line and see the right hand side, exponential, linear, logarithmic, and next is polynomial. So polynomial of degree 2, correct? If I consider 1, then it will be a straight line. So straight line is, it comes under linear. Now polynomial of degree 2, and then I will go down. I will say, okay, display the equation. Display the equation. Now you will see that although it is not very clear because our almost all the points, but you can see the equation. The equation is a second degree equation. Can you see it? Can you see the equation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a second degree equation. Yeah.
Ma'am, can you tell me one more time, how did you get this chart?
Okay. Okay. Can I little bit change the data set so that you will be able to observe it carefully?
Yes, ma'am.
Or I can take a data set from this PPT itself and then we can think of it. But these are only 5 values. No, it has copied here as a picture. Let it be. We can change slightly some values here. This is an increasing trend I have taken. So that's why it is showing. Instead of 91 point, I can change it as 55.4. This I can change it as suppose 78.9. I'm making some changes just to see the exact curve. 156. Something like this. Some changes are made to see the nature of the curve. Okay. Now observe it once again. I'm selecting all these, both the columns, and then go to insert. Then you can choose this chart. You can choose this chart. Okay, choose it. So we get this type of chart. Can you observe this chart?
Yes.
Can you observe this chart? I hope there won't be any problem in this chart now.
Yes.
Correct? Now, how to fit a trend line? How to get the equation of this line directly? So anywhere on this chart, you can put the cursor. You will get such thing, and then right click. Right click, you can see a window. There is at the bottom, second from the bottom, add trend line. Can you see this?
Okay, yes,
then click on it. Once you click on it, this is by default, it takes linear. Now you will see that format trend line option on the right side. Okay. In this format trend line option, I can select a color also. This color, let us take it as red so that it is visible to all. I can select the dash type. I'll consider it as say the thick line. Okay, now it is visible to all. Now I'll go back to this. This is a linear. We can give chart title and so many things we can do. This you can add axis and axis total, whatever you want, you can do it. But here I want to select this. This is okay. This is a linear curve. Now I want a polynomial. So I will select polynomial. Of degree 2 is automatically coming. See, before that, if you select a linear one, see some of the points may not lie on this line. But the moment you select polynomial, you can see some more points may lie on it. And if you increase the degree of this polynomial, you will see that the curve is slightly coming near to that. Can you see it? Can you see that the deviation can be reduced the moment you increase the degree of the polynomial?
Yes.
If you decrease the degree of a polynomial, this is a polynomial of order 2, right? Can you observe it? And its equation, its equation can be displayed here. This is the equation. You can see this equation. Because this is a random data, you will see that the constant value is very big. It is 3 into e to the power plus 6 means it is very big. No problem, but because this is a random data, we can get such values. All right. Is that clear? But this is directly from Excel sheet. If I don't want to do it with Excel sheet, how do I get values of ABC? How these values are calculated in this Excel sheet? This is directly trend line you can find. You can use directly this one because nowadays you are using all these electronic gadgets. So it's possible for you. But suppose we don't have this option. We don't have this chart option with us. Then how do I do this? So this is my X means year and this is Y. All right, X and Y. So with this X and Y, I need to decide the benchmark year. So if I decide this 1989 itself, then my values of X would be, what are the values of X then? X will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I right? Is it correct? 11. Is it right? These are the values of X. Y values are same. Then which two columns I need? I need X into Y and then I need X square. I need X into X, that is X star X. This is what I need. Then how do I calculate it? It is again very simple. X square means this and into this cell itself. That will give you X square. Oh, not sorry. This is X into Y. This cell X into Y cell. And this cell is X into X. So this is equal to this cell into this cell itself. Okay, this way you can calculate. And when you select it and drop down, it will automatically give you this, all the values calculated. Now these are the values. Then we need to find the sum of all these 4 columns except years. So sum of 4 columns, you can calculate it with the help of again Excel. This is the sum of columns. Okay. This I am getting. I get the sum of all 4 columns. This is that sum, and we need to make use of these values: summation y, summation x, summation xy, and summation x square in these PowerPoint presentations here. And then we'll be able to calculate the value of, in this particular set, in this particular example, we can substitute these values. Don't go for mean, trend and other thing. You can put directly the values here. With the help of calculator, you can calculate values of ABC. Because on calculator, there is a provision to solve simultaneous equations up to degree 3. You can easily solve it with using calculator. Or you can do it with the help of Excel, and that is very easy. Directly you will get equation of trend line. Followed? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then next will be parabola. This is whatever example is given here, you know, it is with the help of shifting. Deviation from middle year is considered, and then the trend value is calculated. This is another option. Because of this, what happens? I can show you what happens because of this. Because of shifting of the year, see from the table itself, if I choose this middle year as a base year, means 0, this is 0, I'm choosing this as 0, then this 94 minus 93 minus 94 is minus 1, and this will be minus 2. Here it is 0, 1 and 2. So this, because of this, the summation of x will become 0. You can observe it. But this is the case only if the number of years, means the number of data points are odd in number. These data points are odd in number. Otherwise, you will not get 0. You may not always get it 0. If the data points are odd in number, then you will select the center middle term as 0, and then you can proceed in a backward direction as well as in a forward direction, so that this summation of x will vanish. And when the summation of x vanishes, this particularly summation of x, then summation of x square will vanish. Correct? This will vanish. Sorry, summation of x square may not vanish, but summation of x will vanish. Because this is 0, this is, only 2 terms are left, na plus c into x square. Here, because again summation of x is 0 and summation of x cube, then summation of x is 0, summation of x cube is also 0. Why it is 0? Because there are positive negative values. You will see it in the table. Then summation of x cube is 0, summation of x is 0. So only one term is left in the second equation. In the third equation, only 2 terms are left, a and c. So look at this. This is one example. But here 5 data points are given. For these 5 data points, means odd in number, you can easily select the middle year as a 0 year, and then go back and go forward. You will get this summation x to be 0. Summation x cube is also 0. If you want, you can check it. Minus 8, minus 1, 0, 1 and 8. This summation x cube is 0. So, but x square is not 0. X raised to 4 is not 0. And with the help of this table, we can substitute these values in the given in this set of equations. All these values are now known to us. N is known 5. Summation x square is 10. Why it is 10? Summation x square. 4 plus 1, 4 plus 1, 10. Then summation x cube, this is xy, it is 12. Summation x square is 10. This is x square y. Summation x square and summation x raised to 4. Then solve this from second equation. You will easily get the value of b. From first and third equation, you can find value of a and c. Once you know values of a and c, you can print a trend line, that is y is equal to 6.34 plus 1.2x plus 0.43 x square. This is a parabola. Correct? This is a trend curve, not up line. It is a trend curve. Not necessarily parabola. You can have a curve with polynomial with degree 4, polynomial with degree 5 and 6. This is particularly in case of, this is parabola with third degree. That's what I was telling you, that you can have a polynomial. Instead of parabola, it should be a polynomial. Polynomial of degree 3. So this is a polynomial of degree 3. Method is same. This is the original equation. Because these are 4 constants, A, B, C, D, you can take, we need to have 4 equations. To calculate 4 constants, we need to have 4 equations. Now to get those 4 equations, we consider the sum of these as it is, then multiplied by x, again multiplied by x square, again multiplied by x cube, and then take the sum and we'll get 4 equations. Y multiplied by x, then xy, multiplied by x square y, and multiply this equation by x cube, you will get x cube y. So generate these 4 equations and find the values of A, B, C, D. So this is about a secular trend. All right. Do you have any questions before I go to move to next? Or shall I give you one example to practice?
Ma'am, is that
Yeah.
X is always equally spaced, or we can go for any?
Generally values of x are equally spaced.
Okay.
See, if suppose sometimes you know what happens when you collect the data from the secondary sources, I can tell you that as well. When you collect the data from the secondary sources, sometimes it may happen that the data of one particular year is missing. When the data of one particular year is missing, then, oh sorry, I have not recorded. Has anybody recorded the session? Okay, I will record it and send it to you. But if suppose a data of any particular year is missing from the secondary data which you have collected. Suppose you have collected a data from the government organization and it is 99.99% possibility that some data is missing. Now what to do? If the data is missing, what to do? There are several methods of imputation of data. You can imputate the data. The very easy method is what you call interpolation. Interpolation and extrapolation. It's a very, very easy method for imputing the data. So you can use interpolation techniques and impute that data, particular data, whichever you want, because you have a data from other sides. So use interpolation. You may use Lagrange's, maybe Newton's forward, Newton's backward, or Gauss method, whichever method you know, you can use it and collect that data. Once you get that data, then you can apply this time series analysis.
Yes, ma'am.
Because time series analysis requires a data in a continuation with the same space, like 1993, 94, 95, 96. If it is a gap of 2 years, then the entire data is placed in a gap of 2 years or 3 years.
Means if it is not equally spaced, we have to convert it into equally spaced.
Yeah. Means, see, generally this data is equally spaced. When you collect it by your own, you will definitely see that the data, you are taking a data, say for month of January, then month of February, March, April, May, June, like this. When you collect it by your own. But if you are taking it from some other sources using already available data, then it might happen that data of March is missing. Data of April, October is missing. Then what to do? You have a data from January to December, but these 2 missing data points are there. So, you know, there are several techniques to find out the missing data.
Yes, ma'am.
So make use of those techniques to get the data, and that is called the imputation. Very simple method is interpolation. You can interpolate that value and you will be able to get it.
Yes.
Okay, you know, with the help of interpolation, you can calculate the missing values.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
And then because you have imputed those values, now your data will be equally spaced, and then you can go ahead with time series
Time
analysis.
series.
Any other doubt? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay, did you understand? Because this is not my routine subject. I'm teaching mathematics. This time series comes under statistics. But do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no doubt means you have
Yes.
understood. Okay.
Nicely explained.
So shall we go ahead? It is almost 4. If you want, we can move ahead for the seasonal trend. Parabola of third degree, and this is a seasonal variation. Yes. How to do the analysis of seasonal variations? If you want, I will go ahead, or we can, because there are again so many things here. The decision is yours. If you are not bored, I can go ahead.
Madam, please next time.
Who is telling this? Ashwin.
Yes.
Okay, by the time, can you switch on your videos? Let me see how. I don't even know how many students are there, who all are there. Because we always talk online, so it's very difficult to know the students, and the students are also, they are not aware about who is a faculty, right?
This is Sampada Tause. I am from your earlier organization, MMC.
You are from which department, madam?
ENTC. ENTC
Oh, most of the
department.
people, they give me this reference, means I'm very happy to listen that you are from my earlier organization. These people still remember me in MMC.
Yes, yes.
It's nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Yes, Radhika, which organization? I think. Radhika, can you unmute yourself?
I'm from CSV too, ma'am.
Okay. From which branch?
Triple E.
Huh?
Triple
But
E. Now it's electronics.
electronics. Okay. Sahil, you are from which discipline?
CS, Computer Science.
Computer science.
Yes. I am from Vidya Pratishthan, Baramati.
Baramati. Good enough.
Yes.
Dr. Devsarkar was there earlier.
Yes, yes. He is having good connect with me.
Yeah.
He was earlier. Now Dr. Biskar is looking out.
Yeah. He shifted to Batu Lonere.
Yes, ma'am. He was in charge of register there as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's still in Batu.
Nice meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Smita Khernar. Rahul Aman. From where are you, Rahul?
Ma'am, I'm from. Hello. Ma'am, I'm from Sinhagad, Pune.
Okay. Pune. There are several Sinhagads. Which one?
Yeah, NBN, madam.
NB. Okay. CS.
IT department.
IT. Yes, Smita.
Yes, ma'am. Some camera issue is there. I'm from CSIT and I'm from Pimpri Chinchod College of Engineering.
Okay, Sonal Gore is also one of our students.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She is in my department. Yeah.
Okay, she is doing her PhD.
Yes, ma'am. I know. Thanks.
Yes, next one is Sonali. Sonali, I think, did you have an introduction among yourself?
Yes, ma'am. You
Okay,
have
good
interview.
enough. Sonali Waluns, you are
Yes,
from?
I'm from Wadia College.
Okay, Pune.
Yes, ma'am.
And discipline?
Mathematics. Mathematics.
Under whom did you register?
Lodi, sir.
Lodi, sir. Okay. Dinesh Kutte, I know you because you are working under me. This fellow also I know, Vivek. Ashwin Dhoke, you are from?
Yeah. Hi, ma'am.
Hi, you are from?
I am from industry, ma'am.
Industry. Which discipline are you working?
In mechanical department.
Mechanical. Okay. I can't see the other people. Yes, who is left? Yes.
Yes. It's Soham, ma'am. Soham
Huh.
Wagre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from SIT. I'm from SIT itself. I was a visiting faculty for the previous semester.
Acha, acha.
And even I have completed my masters from SIT itself. I am from mechanical stream.
Acha, I didn't come across you. I may have seen your name on paper maybe.
Yeah, I am under Sachit sir.
Sachit, okay.
Sachit sir is my co-guide.
Okay, okay. Good enough. Okay, anybody who is left? Only 6, 7 with to whom I can see on my screen. I could see. Okay, then if you want, I will end it here. And in the next lecture, because I need to teach optimization, theory of reliability. Have you studied theory of reliability by any chance? Do you know optimization, basic concept of optimization?
Yes.
Huh? Global minima, local minima, are you aware of it?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
You must be knowing LPP. You know LPP, linear programming problem?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And simplex method also?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
If you know that, we can proceed further. Because I don't want to teach this basic method. We'll go ahead with advanced optimization techniques.
Yeah, but ma'am, I would like to know if you can just brief on that. That will be good.
May I know you are not very clear?
It's Ashwin here, ma'am.
Huh?
So, like I said, if you give brief about the brief introduction or brief about these topics, that will be good.
Okay. In maybe in half an hour.
Yeah, that will be good.
Okay, okay. Next time, remind me to start the video in the beginning itself, or I can ask the coordinator to start the video recording. But I think today all of you have heard everything, so whenever I get time, I will record it.
Recording is on.
But it is just of 6 minutes, last 5-6 minutes. Okay? So I'll take care.
Hello, ma'am.
Huh?
Yes,
You said you shared some
6
PPTs.
hours, 54 minutes.
Yeah, I'll share those PPTs.
Okay.
I'll upload these PPTs on your Microsoft team right now.
Yes.
Okay, then you will be able to see that.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, it is 6 hours 54 minutes, I think.
Yes, ma'am. It is on 6 hours
Maybe
54
might
minutes.
be from the beginning it is recording.
Yes, ma'am. The whole day has been recorded.
Okay, no problem. Means the recording is available. It is 6 hours, correct? So that's fine. Means almost 7 hours, 6 hours, 55 minutes, 11 seconds. So I'll see you maybe in next week.
Thank you, ma'am.
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 Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.